Right. Let's get one thing straight. For years, the world of fighter jets has had a sort of undisputed king of the playground. The American F-35 Lightning II. It's the one with all the bells and whistles, the stealth, the jaw-dropping price tag, and the backing of the world's biggest superpower. Everyone just sort of assumed that if you were a serious country looking for a top-tier jet, you'd queue up, sign the enormous check, and wait for your F-35S to arrive. It was, for all intents and purposes, the default choice. A bit like ordering a Coke, you just do it. But now something properly unexpected has happened. The script has been well and truly ripped up. Suddenly, countries that were locked in, money down, are having second thoughts. And this isn't some small, insignificant wobble. We're talking about major NATO allies like Canada and Portugal. They're looking at the F-35 contract on their desk, then glancing over at a different brochure entirely, one from Sweden. This has sent a proper shockwave through the defense world. It's like finding out your neighbor is trading in his brand new Range Rover for a surprisingly brilliant Volvo. You'd be stunned. The reason? It seems the world is getting a bit nervous about putting all its eggs in one American basket, especially with the winds of political change blowing so unpredictably from Washington these days. The heart of the matter seems to be a growing sense of unease. Recent shifts in American foreign policy, talk of new tariffs, and a less predictable stance on global alliances have made some nations jittery. They're starting to wonder if relying so completely on the U.S. for their most critical defense asset is a wise, long-term strategy. What happens if political moods change again? What if access to crucial software updates or spare parts becomes a bargaining chip in a future trade dispute? These aren't just technical questions. They're fundamental questions about national security and independence. And they are causing a major rethink in capital cities around the globe. This hesitation is creating an opening, a crack in the F-35's armor of invincibility. And slipping neatly into that crack is the Saab JS-39 Gripen E. It's always been seen as the clever, capable, but perhaps less glamorous alternative, the underdog. Now, however, its very nature as a non-American platform is becoming one of its biggest selling points. Canada, even after committing to 88 F-35s, is now hitting the pause button to review its options. This isn't just a minor hiccup for the F-35 program. It's a genuine challenge to its dominance, proving that in the high-stakes game of air power, nothing is ever truly guaranteed. So, what is this Swedish jet that's causing such a fuss? Is it just a cheaper, less capable option? Absolutely not. The Gripen E is what you'd call a 4.5 generation fighter. It might not have the all-over radar invisible stealth of the F-35, but it has some seriously clever tricks up its sleeve. Saab has been building brilliant jets for decades, and they've poured all that experience into this machine. Its biggest party piece is its brain, a massively advanced sensor system that is, according to Saab, every bit as good as the F-35ES, and in some ways even smarter. It's designed to be a hunter. The real genius lies in how it processes information. The Gripen E uses a revolutionary amount of automation and artificial intelligence. Think of it this way. In an older jet, the pilot is juggling a dozen different screens and sensors trying to build a mental picture of the battlefield. It's incredibly demanding. The Gripen E does most of that work for the pilot. Its systems fuse all the data from its radar, infrared sensors, and electronic warfare suite, then uses AI to analyze it, identify threats, and suggest the best course of action. This frees up the pilot to be a strategist, not just an operator, making decisions instead of managing systems. This advanced electronic brain gives the Gripen a crucial edge. It's reportedly brilliant at detecting and tracking so-called stealthy targets. While the F-35 relies on being invisible, the Gripen is designed to find things that are trying to hide. It uses a network of different sensors that can spot the faintest electronic or heat signature, building a detailed picture even when its main radar can't see a thing. It challenges the very idea that stealth is the ultimate trump card in air combat. It's a bit like having a world-class detective on board, one that can piece together tiny clues to solve the big picture. On top of all this, the Gripen E is famously efficient. It was designed from the ground up to be easy to maintain and cheap to fly. It can operate from short, makeshift runways on public roads, and can be refueled and rearmed by a small ground crew in minutes. This is a huge advantage over the F-35, which requires extensive specialized infrastructure. The Gripen offers world-class capability without the world-class headache. It's a pragmatic, powerful, and incredibly intelligent piece of engineering that is now, finally, getting the global attention it deserves. Now we get to the core of the issue, the thing that's really making countries think twice. It's a concept called technological sovereignty. It sounds complicated, but it's actually quite simple. Do you have full control over the technology you buy? When a country buys a fleet of fighter jets, they're not just buying the metal, engines, and missiles. They're buying into a whole system, a technological ecosystem that includes software, data links, mission planning tools, and future upgrades. The crucial question is, who controls that ecosystem? Who holds the keys to the software that makes the whole thing work? With the F-35, the answer is unequivocally the United States. The jet is a flying supercomputer, and its software is managed through a centralized, US-controlled network. Upgrades, threat libraries, and even certain operational data are all routed through American systems. For years, this was seen as a strength, a global network of allies all using the same cutting-edge tech. But in a world where your main ally's political direction can change every 4 years, that locked-in dependency is starting to look like a potential vulnerability. What if access to a critical software patch is delayed or denied for political reasons? It's a risk that nations are no longer willing to ignore. This is where Saab and the Gripen E offer a completely different philosophy. The Swedish approach is built on the promise of total technological sovereignty. When you buy the Gripen, you buy the whole package, including the keys. Saab gives the customer nation full access to the source code for the jet's software. This means they can modify, update, and tailor the aircraft systems to their own specific needs, without having to ask for permission from another country. They can integrate their own homegrown weapons or communication systems, and they control the flow of their own sensitive mission data. This level of independence is a massive strategic advantage. It means a country's air force can never be held hostage by foreign politics. It ensures that their primary defense asset will always be ready and configured for their own unique threats, on their own terms. For countries like Canada or Portugal, who are watching the political situation in the US with concern, this promise of self-reliance is incredibly appealing. It transforms the choice of a fighter jet from a simple hardware purchase into a profound statement about national autonomy and long-term security strategy in an uncertain world. So, what does all this mean for the future? If countries like Canada and Portugal do follow through and choose the Gripen over the F-35, the fallout will be immense. First and foremost, it would be a massive blow to the prestige and market dominance of the F-35 program. For decades, American fighter plane diplomacy has been a powerful tool, locking allies into its technological and strategic orbit. A high-profile defection to a European alternative would signal that this power is waning. It would show the world that there are credible, top-tier alternatives, and that blind loyalty to US hardware is no longer the only option on the table. This could trigger a domino effect. Other nations, perhaps sitting on the fence or quietly nursing similar concerns, would be emboldened. They would see that it is possible to choose a different path, to prioritize operational independence and cost-effectiveness without sacrificing cutting-edge capability. This could open the door not just for the Gripen, but for other advanced European jets like the Eurofighter Typhoon and the Dassault Rafale. The global fighter market, long dominated by a single American giant, could become much more competitive and diverse, which is ultimately a good thing for the customer nations. The F-35 will, of course, remain a formidable and hugely important aircraft. Its stealth and networking capabilities are undeniable, and it will continue to be the backbone of the US Air Force and many allied fleets for decades to come. It's still the quarterback in the sky, a flying command center with unique abilities. However, this shift proves that it is not the only answer to every question. The Gripen's rise shows that different nations have different priorities. For some, absolute technological sovereignty and operational flexibility might just outweigh the advantage of all-aspect stealth, especially when it comes with political strings attached. Ultimately, this surprising turn of events is a wake-up call. It's a reminder that in the world of geopolitics and high-tech defense, nothing stands still. Trust, reliability, and independence are becoming just as important as radar cross-sections and sensor fusion algorithms. The choice is no longer just between a 4.5 gen and a 5th gen fighter. It's a choice between two different philosophies of air power and international partnership. The fact that the clever, pragmatic Swedish option is now a serious contender for the top spot is a fascinating twist, and it's one that will reshape the skies for years to come.